But there's a moment right before everything changes. You're together, breathless, skin against skin, and you realize there's a heartbeat of time just before he enters you where the entire world holds its breath. And that moment, if you know how to use it, can make a man tremble for you, not just physically, but emotionally. Not just in that one night, but in the memories he'll carry for years. Because real intimacy isn't just about the act itself. It's about how present you are in the build-up. It's about how deeply you let yourself be felt, desired, and how confidently you let him experience all of you. Realize that we've been sold a lie, that men only want novelty, that to be unforgettable you need to perform or be perfect or do what no other woman does. But that's not what reaches a man's soul. That's not what makes his knees weak and his breath catch in his throat. What he remembers is the moment right before the intensity, the eyes, the breath, the emotion, the moment when everything feels unspoken but deeply understood. Realize that when you stop performing and start inviting, when your body says, I trust you, but your energy says, I'm still in charge of my desire, that's what makes you unforgettable. Not because you gave him your body, but because you gave him a moment that felt like magic, a pause that made him feel chosen, a whisper that stayed in his mind long after the lights were off. So, if you want to create a moment that makes a man tremble with anticipation, a moment he'll never forget, here are 6 ways to take that split second before he enters you and make it last forever in his mind. Are you ready? Let's begin. There's something ancient, primal, and devastatingly powerful about eye contact, especially in the moment right before intimacy, when your bodies are already close, when your breath is already shallow, when the only thing left is to surrender. That's when your eyes become your greatest power. Locking eyes right before he enters you isn't just about physical attraction. It's not a stare for performance or drama. It's a connection. It's a wordless message that says, I'm here with you, present, open, alive. And when you hold that gaze, without flinching, without looking away, without nervously laughing, it changes the entire energy of the moment. Because here's what most people do. They rush, they blink, they close their eyes and skip the intimacy. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they've never learned how to hold the moment. But when you lock eyes and stay right there, you're telling him without a single word that he has your trust, your focus, and your full emotional attention. And here's where the real magic happens. In that locked gaze, you become unforgettable. You're no longer just 2 bodies. You're 2 souls seeing each other in real time. You're giving him a peek into your truth, without hiding, without shrinking. And that level of emotional exposure, that level of feminine presence, that's the kind of moment that rewires a man. It doesn't just arouse him, it shakes him. In that gaze, you're telling him, this is not casual for me. I'm not disconnected. I'm right here, and I'm letting you see me fully. You're also saying, I choose you. I trust myself enough to stay. This moment is sacred. That's the kind of eye contact that doesn't need words. It penetrates deeper than any touch. It shows vulnerability, power, and feminine ownership, all in one look. It awakens his protective instinct. It melts his defenses. It calls his masculine energy into presence. Not just lust, but something that hits deeper than he expected. You see, men don't often experience that kind of intimacy. They don't often feel seen by their lovers. Desired, yes. Touched, sure. But seen, rarely. So when you hold that gaze, You're offering something rarer than your body. You're offering connection. And when you do that, he feels something he won't even be able to describe, but he'll never forget it. So in that moment before the final step, don't rush. Look at him. Really look. Let your eyes soften. Let them linger. Let the electricity build. Hold him there. Because when you lock eyes and don't look away, you're not just giving him your body. You're giving him a memory that will echo in his mind for the rest of his life. Words have power, but not all words are created equal. In the moment right before intimacy peaks, when your bodies are close and your hearts are racing, it's not about saying the perfect thing. It's about saying the right thing in the right way. And the right way is softly, slowly, intimate. Whispering into a man's ear isn't just erotic, it's unforgettable. Because in that moment, you're not shouting your desire from the rooftops, you're letting him in on a secret. You're wrapping your voice in breath, in heat, in intention, and sending it straight into his nervous system. And when a man hears something only meant for him, said only in that moment, it hits different, it hits deep. You don't need to memorize a line or try to impress him. What matters is that it's true and personal. It could be something simple like, I've never wanted anyone this much. Or maybe, I want to feel you everywhere. Or something more emotional like, I feel so safe with you right now. The words don't need to be filthy. They just need to be real. Because in that whisper, he's not just hearing you, he's feeling chosen. This isn't about being performative. It's not dirty talk for shock value. It's about emotional exclusivity. You're saying, this is me, unfiltered, just for you. And that exclusivity of being the only man who gets this side of you makes him feel deeply aroused and emotionally connected at the same time. Here's the key. Your whisper should feel like a surrender and a claiming. You're giving him something intimate, but you're also directing the energy. Your voice becomes the gateway between your heart and your body. And when it's honest, he'll hang on to every syllable. His breath will hitch. His pulse will jump. Because now he's not just aroused, he's emotionally pulled in. And timing matters. Do it right before everything happens, that moment when he's so close it almost hurts, when the anticipation is already electric and your voice becomes the spark. Leaning close to his ear, let your lips just barely graze his skin. Let your breath warm him before your words ever reach him, and then say what's true, say what's raw, say what you'd never say in any other context. Say what feels good to you to say. He won't just remember the words, he'll remember how they made him feel. He'll remember the tremble in your voice, the heat of your breath, the way it lit his entire body on fire from the inside out. So don't underestimate the power of a whisper. Use it, play with it. Let it be the moment he realizes, this isn't just another experience. This is something sacred, and he's the only man who gets to hear you like this. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. No words, no movement, just breath. Because before a man touches you completely, before the moment of full surrender, there is a space. An electric pause that either gets rushed or honored. And in that space, the way you breathe can make him tremble in ways no touch ever could. Most people underestimate breath. They think seduction is in the actions, the sounds, the obvious. But what actually drives a man wild, what steers his most primal desire, is the subtle, the silent, the felt. And your breath is one of the most intimate things you can share with him. Not just any breath, intentional, slow, present breath, when you lean in close just before he enters you and let your breath brush his ear, you're doing something primal. You're not just breathing, you're inviting. You're awakening every nerve ending in his body. You're signaling that something powerful is about to happen, and it's happening at your pace, on your terms, in your rhythm. You see, the ear is one of the most sensitive erogenous zones on a man's body. But it's not just about physical response. It's about what that breath represents. It's closeness without touch. It's intimacy without pressure. It's the heat of your body without words. Telling him, you're allowed in, but I decide how deep. When you breathe into his ear, he'll feel it in places he didn't expect. Down his neck, through his chest. He won't know whether to stay still or collapse, because you've entered his mind. You've activated anticipation, and anticipation is everything. Don't rush it. Bring your mouth close to his ear. Don't speak, just be there. Then, let the space between your lips and his skin feel heavy. Take one slow breath. Let it warm him. Let him feel your desire without needing to hear it. Then, if you want, pause. Maybe another breath, maybe a soft exhale on his neck. No expectations. Just energy. You don't have to say a word. Because what makes a man tremble is not always what you say, it's what you withhold. That breath tells him, I could say something right now, but instead, I'm going to let you feel me. And that decision, the restraint, the presence, the control, drives him insane in the best way. This moment isn't about performance, it's about presence. It's about showing him that your body is not a checklist, it's a landscape, your breath, the breeze that teases before the storm. So use it, intentionally, sensually, because when he feels your breath against his skin, right before the moment everything shifts, it doesn't just arouse him, it brands the moment into his memory forever. With both hands right before he enters you, he doesn't just feel your body, he feels your presence, your heart, your choice. You're telling him, I see you, not just as a lover, but as a man, not just as someone attractive, but as someone you trust. And in that quiet second, he stops being the one in control and begins surrendering to you. It's a shift in energy that creates deep polarity. Your touch grounds him. It draws him out of his thoughts and straight into his body, straight into the present. You're not tugging at his clothes or performing for effect. You're holding space with softness, with grace, with quiet power. And here's the deeper truth. Touching his face isn't just about him, it's about you. It's you allowing yourself to feel, to connect, to slow down the moment and take ownership of it. To remind yourself that this isn't about seeking approval. It's about your choice. The choice to connect, to open up, to be fully there. And when he feels that from you, when your hands cradle his face, when your thumbs slowly glide along his jaw, when your eyes meet his, he softens. He surrenders. He remembers. Because most men are not used to being touched like that. With reverence, with tenderness. Not like they're only wanted for what they can do, but for who they truly are. And that cracks something open inside him, in the best way possible. So right before he enters you, take his face in your hands. Slow everything down. Hold him. Let your fingertips learn his features. Let the world fade. Say nothing, just stay with him. In your body, in your stillness, in your soft presence. Because when you touch a man's face like you're choosing him, not needing him, you don't just awaken his body, you stay in his memory. There's something deeply intimate, almost spiritual, about hearing your name in the voice of someone you deeply desire. And right before he enters you, when the air feels electric and time seems to hold its breath, saying his name can become the most sensual, unforgettable sound he's ever heard. But not casually, not quickly. Don't say it like you're just trying to get his attention. Say his name slowly, like you're savoring it, like each sound carries weight. Say it like his name is the only word that feels real in that moment. Why? Because in that instant when your voice wraps itself around his name, you make it personal. You strip away every trace of performance and bring him into full presence. You don't just make love to his body, you reach for the man underneath, the one who wants to feel seen, wanted, chosen. That moment, when you whisper his name gently, breathlessly, it's not about drama, it's about emotional truth. It's you saying, I see you, I want you. Not just any man, you. That kind of specificity touches him in places most people never do. You see, most men have had sex, but very few have had their name spoken like a sacred word in the middle of it. Few have felt a woman breathe their name like she meant every letter of it, like he was the only one in the world who mattered in that moment. It's rare, it's magnetic, and it lingers. Because in a world where intimacy often feels rushed, shallow, or disconnected, hearing you say his name with slow, feminine certainty snaps him out of autopilot. It brings him back to something real. It tells him, you matter. I'm here. I'm fully present. And it stirs something inside him, not just lust, but something deeper, something sacred. So say his name like it means everything, like you're calling him forward into something deeper. Let him feel that it's not just about pleasure, but about being known, chosen, held, not because you want to feed his ego, but because you're rooted in your own power. You're not begging for intimacy, you're creating it. Moments like this don't stay in his mind because of the fireworks, but because of the feeling. The way you said his name becomes the echo he hears in his head when he thinks of you. Not the clothes, not even the act, but that 1 second. Your voice, his name, the world disappearing. And in that moment, when he hears his name from your lips, everything shifts. So when it's time, when he's close, when he's ready, lean in. Let his name rise from within you. Let it flow from your lips like silk. Let him feel the weight of your desire. Because when a man hears his name, spoken with genuine emotion and fire, he doesn't just remember the night, he remembers you. If you really want to own a man's mind, body and memory, don't rush. Pause. Right before he enters you, when everything is on edge, when the tension is thick, do nothing, not from fear, but from presence, from confidence, from the deep knowing place inside you that understands. True power doesn't hurry. Most people miss this moment. They speed through it, assuming what comes next is where the magic lives. But what stays in a man's heart forever is that breath, that stillness, that pause. The heartbeat that hangs in the air before everything unfolds. When you pause, you control the tempo. You become the conductor of energy, not a follower of it. You create anticipation, silence. Attention so palpable he forgets to breathe. And in that stillness, when every part of him aches for you, you wait. Not because you're withholding, but because you're choosing. Because you understand the sacred power of waiting. The woman who pauses doesn't need to prove anything. She isn't racing to the finish line. She is savoring, the rise. She is inviting him into a moment that isn't just physical. It's felt, it's embodied, it's real. That restraint, that grace, that deep inner stillness, it hypnotizes. Here's the truth. A man might have had sex hundreds of times, but how many of those moments truly shook him to his core? How many were unforgettable? Very few, because most are quick, repetitive, shallow. But when you pause right before he enters you, when you hold him, breathe with him, look into his soul, everything changes. You're telling him, this matters. I'm not rushing. I'm here completely. You take a moment that could have just been physical and you turn it into something emotional, spiritual, eternal. He might not understand why he's trembling, but he'll know something happened, something deep. So next time you're there, closed, breathless, ready, stop, breathe, look at him, maybe touch his chest. Let your eyes wander, let the silence speak. Let the desire grow. Let him feel the truth without needing a single word, that this isn't just sex. This is something more. Because when you pause in the very moment he expects you to give in, you don't just stir his desire, you anchor his heart. Let's be real. Sex is everywhere. It's on screens, in music, in conversations. But real intimacy? That's rare. That's sacred. And when you know how to navigate those opening seconds, those quiet moments before everything begins, you don't just become an experience, you become a standard. Because what makes a man tremble isn't just your body, it's your energy, your stillness, the way you look into him and say nothing, but he feels everything. It's the breath he feels on his skin, the whisper that no one else gets to hear. It's the way you touch his face like he's precious, the way you say his name like it's poetry. And finally, it's that pause, that powerful feminine pause that says, you don't get all of me until I decide. That's what makes him tremble. Not just in the moment, but every time he thinks of you. Every time he lies awake, wondering if he'll ever feel that again. Because you didn't just give him access to your body, you gave him an experience of your soul. So here's your challenge, your invitation. Stop rushing, stop performing, stop thinking you have to be unforgettable by doing more. Instead, slow down, be present, take up space. Let him feel the gravity of your stillness, the strength in your softness, the depth of your choice. Because when you learn how to own the before, the build-up, the breath, the look, the pause, you don't just create desire. You direct it. You guide it. And you'll become the woman he'll never forget.